Welcome to Alimentary, the podcast series where you will not only learn about your amazing body, how it works, and of course why food is so important, but also pick up some simple recipes and lifestyle tips and tweaks which will help you to influence your health in a positive way. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about omega-3 fats and just why they are so important for our physical and mental health. And obviously that's as part of an overall healthy diet and lifestyle. Now, fats were generally vilified for decades, really, until in more recent years, it's been acknowledged that they're not all harmful. And in fact, some are essential and beneficial for our health. Omega-3s fall into this healthy fat category, and they perform several essential functions. And we even need fats in our diet in order to be able to absorb other nutrients. So, for example, fat-soluble vitamins like vitamins A, D, E, and K. So omega-3s are actually called essential fatty acids because our body can't make them. So we must ingest them from our food. And there are two types of fatty acids, and you're probably familiar with the terms saturated fat and unsaturated fat. Now, unsaturated fat is, I suppose, an umbrella term for polyunsaturated fat and monounsaturated fat, and these are considered to be the healthy fats when eaten in the proper proportions. So omega-3s are polyunsaturated fat, and they're considered to be heart healthy, because they contribute to lowering our triglycerides. Now, triglycerides is a type of lipid or fat, and it's found in our blood and our body fat. And this would be one of the three numbers that are used to calculate our cholesterol level. So we'd have our triglycerides, our HDL, and our LDL. So omega-3s can help to lower our triglycerides, which is a good thing. And also in relation to cholesterol, omega-3s may also contribute to raising our HDL, which is our good cholesterol. And they're also linked to lowering our blood pressure as well. Now, in addition to these benefits to our cardiovascular system, omega-3s carry out other vital functions in our bodies, such as helping all of the cells in our bodies to function as they should. They're an integral part of our cell membranes, and the membrane is the protective barrier around our cells. So obviously really important for the structure of our cells. So if they're so important for the structure of our cells and how cells interact with each other, then it stands to reason that omega-3s are vital for the health of our whole body. They are concentrated in high levels in our in cells in our eyes and our brain. So super important for our eye health and our brain health too. Now, they're an important source of fuel. So obviously fat is a fuel for our body. So that gives us the energy that we need to go about our day. They're beneficial for our skin health because they contribute to reducing inflammation. So, they may help with conditions like psoriasis, acne, and eczema as well. So omega-3s are also precursors or building blocks for our hormone production. And in addition to the fact that they support the balancing of our blood sugars, which in turn supports the balance of our hormones, obviously omega-3s are vital for our hormones. They regulate our metabolism, and metabolism is how we convert food into energy. And studies have shown that they can help to attenuate or reduce further weight gain as part of an overall, healthy diet and lifestyle again. So our bodies can't produce these fatty acids. As we said earlier, they're essential to eat from our food. So it's important to know that there are three different types of omega-3s. So we have EPA, which is eicosapentaenoic acid, and it's a marine omega-3 because it's found in fish. The second one is also a marine omega-3, and it's called DHA. So it's docosahexaenoic acid. And the third one is ALA, or alpha-linoleic acid. And this is the form that's found in plants. Now, the marine omega-3s are the best sources because they're the forms that are linked to reducing the risk of disease. However, when we eat ALA from plants, our body is able to turn some of it into EPA and DHA. It is a bit of a convoluted process, so it just generates a smaller amount, of the EPA and DHA than you would get from fish. So this is why the fish oil is the best source. However, some listeners, may not be fans of fish. for several reasons. Some people may be vegan and may be allergic to fish, or some people just don't like it and won't eat it. So in this case, it's essential to make sure that you have higher amounts of the plant omega-3 in your diet. So dietary sources of the EPA and the DHA, they include fatty fish. So for example, salmon, sardines, mackerel, and the recommendation is 2 servings per week. Just as a side note, I have been asked by clients about mercury when it comes to eating fish. So just to say that some fish have higher levels of mercury than others, and these are usually really large species of fish that eat other fish. And this tends to mean that they accumulate mercury faster in their tissues because of that. Tuna would be one that I think probably a lot of people are familiar with as having potentially higher levels of mercury. So, you'd be wise to just have tuna, max once a week. Your salmon, your mackerel, and your sardines, are generally acknowledged to be safer. I will put a link in the show notes to a website where you can go and check, the figures on the fish that's safe to eat. So when I talk about mackerel, I'm talking about the normal size mackerel. There is a king mackerel that you can get, and that would have higher levels of mercury because it's a larger fish. Now, obviously, it's important for all of us to not to take in too much mercury, but especially if you're pregnant. So just going back to ALA and what are the best food sources for that form of omega-3, nuts and seeds are really where you're going to find omega-3 in plants. So we have flax seeds and chia seeds. They're great sources. And then the best nuts would be walnuts. They'd be the nuts with the highest quantity of omega-3. So if you're reliant on ALA, so if you're not going to eat oily fish, then you would aim to have about 2 tablespoons of flax seeds or chia seeds throughout the day. I wouldn't have them at the same sitting because they are binding, so that can cause digestive issues. But I'll come back to that a little later as to, how you might incorporate them into your day. Now, according to the Cleveland Clinic, some studies show that omega-3s may lower your risk for cardiovascular disease, sudden death caused by abnormal heart rhythm, which is arrhythmia, blood clots, some forms of cancer, including breast cancer, Alzheimer's disease and dementia, age-related macular degeneration, which is our eyesight. And, research is ongoing into investigating these and other possible benefits associated with omega-3 are fighting depression and anxiety, particularly the EPA form, promoting brain health during pregnancy and early life, reducing symptoms of ADHD in children, reducing symptoms of metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is typically you would have central obesity or belly fat, high blood pressure, insulin resistance, high triglycerides, and low HDL levels. Omega-3 may also help fight inflammation, which is a driver of many chronic diseases, especially autoimmune diseases. Maybe reducing mood swings, reducing liver fat. Consumption of omega-3s has been linked to reduced risk of asthma in children and improving the quantity and quality of sleep. So, of course, all of this, again, is as part of an overall, healthy diet and lifestyle. So in order to make sure that you're getting enough omega-3 in your diet throughout the week, these are just a few suggestions of how you can incorporate them. So if you like your fatty fish, you could have salmon for dinner, for example, with some baby potatoes and some mixed greens. You can have sardines, which are also actually brilliant for your bones because they're a good source of calcium. So you could mix up some sardines with some cucumber and some mayonnaise and have that on some sourdough. You could have some mackerel with a big salad, for lunch, a great source of protein as well, of course, in the middle of the day. And it is better to bake your fish rather than fry it, especially in vegetable oils, So if you're dependent on your plant sources of omega-3, then we want to have it daily. And that's where you will have your tablespoon of flax seeds or chia seeds with your porridge. You might have then another tablespoon later on in the day mixed in with the yogurt or in your NutriBullet or a smoothie. You can even sprinkle them onto soup, or a salad as well. You could have a handful of walnuts with a banana for a snack or an apple. The other thing that you can do is use rapeseed oil, olive oil, or walnut oil in your salad dressings as well. Now, I would say to try and get your omega-3 from your food, because of course, all of those foods have amazing other nutrients. But some people may need to supplement for various different health reasons. But what I would say is if you're on any medications or have any health issues, just chat to your doctor or your healthcare practitioner before you get supplements. It's always best to get advice and make sure that there's no contraindications with any medications or treatments that you're on. So omega-3 fats are not only essential, but super for our health. And the foods that contain them, which are easy to incorporate into our diet, also have other nutrients like protein and fiber in the case of the nuts and seeds, so excellent for digestion too. So hopefully there's enough information there to encourage you that it will really benefit you now and in the long run, to make sure that you're including enough omega-3 in your weekly diet. So the store cupboard staple for this episode are chia seeds. And chia seeds are a small, black, nutrient-dense seed originating from South America. And their benefits include supporting cardiovascular health, bone density, and balanced blood sugars, as well as being anti-inflammatory thanks to the omega-3 content. They contain omega-3 in the form ALA, which is the alpha-linoleic acid, and this converts to a small amount of EPA and DHA. They also contain protein, fiber, calcium, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, zinc, vitamins B1 and B3, and antioxidants, including chlorogenic acid, caffeic acid, myricetin, quercetin, and camphorol. And they may all have protective effects on the heart and liver, as well as may help fight cancer. So antioxidants, prevent free radical damage to our cells. So really important to have lots in our diet. So the protein in chia seeds helps us to stay feeling full for longer. And we need protein to rebuild and repair as well. The soluble fiber helps to lower our LDL, the bad cholesterol. It supports our digestive system, and both protein and fiber together help to slow down the release of glucose into our blood. So it helps to balance our blood sugars and reduce cravings. So finally, chia seeds are high in calcium and phosphorus and magnesium, which are super important for our bone health too. So once we have the chia seeds in our store cupboard, what are we going to do with them? So I'm going to suggest 3 things that you can use chia seeds for. The first one is that they can be used with oats to make an overnight chia oat pudding. And this is similar to overnight oats, but it's always a good idea to add protein to every meal and snack. The chia seeds also are brilliant at soaking up the liquid. So if you like a thicker consistency in your overnight oats, they can really help with that too. Now, because they're excellent at absorbing liquid, they make a good binder in recipes if you can't or don't want to use eggs. So if you want to replace an egg in a recipe, get a little small bowl, and for every egg, add 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, whole chia seeds, and 2.5 to 3 tablespoons of water. Give it a little stir, and then leave for about 5 minutes and give it a stir again. Once it'll achieve sort of a gel-like consistency, and then it's ready to use. Actually works really well in pancakes too, by the way. I used it one time when I actually ran out of eggs, so that was my chance to test it out. So the third thing that you can do with chia seeds is actually add them to a porridge, a yogurt, smoothie, NutriBullet. Just remember to stir them well, and also so that they don't clump together. And also, a tablespoon is plenty in one go because they are quite binding. And so, obviously stay hydrated when you're eating them. And what I would say as well is that if you're not used to eating them, test your absorption of them first. So start with a teaspoon. See how you go for a couple of days. If everything's okay, if it doesn't upset your digestion, then go up to a dessert spoon and then up to a tablespoon. The other thing, I suppose, because there's so much fiber in them, if you go from not having much fiber in your diet to a lot of fiber, you might have some digestive side effects like bloating or diarrhea, so you want to avoid that. So I'd say a tablespoon is, plenty to have in one sitting, and start off with the teaspoon. So there you go. We have 3 ideas for using chia seeds, and I've added a link in the show notes to a website which has many more recipes that you can use them in. So remember to keep them visible in your kitchens, that you remember to use them, and pop them in your shopping trolley this week. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I just wanted to clarify that the podcast is for informational purposes only and does not substitute professional care from a doctor or trained health professional, nor does it constitute medical advice or services if you're in a position to need either. However, if you find it interesting, you can subscribe to make sure you don't miss future episodes or sign up for my newsletter on sharkeynutrition.ie.